sexy. I've got the looks that drives you go wild. I've got the moves that really move 'em. I said chill up and down their spine. I'm just a sexy boy. I'm not your boy toy.
Okay. As I said yesterday, I have been watching some Heartbreak Kid Shawn Michaels, reliving the glory days of my childhood. Here we are with part 2 of Season 5, Episode 10 of the Dodcast. We'll call it Season 5, Episode 11, for good measure. I could actually be wrong about that. If I'm being honest with you, I didn't check this time, and I probably should have. We're just gonna wing it, though. Oh my god, I hear myself. This is actually Episode 12. This is Episode 12. So part 2 of Season 5, Episode 11, but we're going to call it Part 12. So, let's do it. What we got on tap for today, we got a little bit of playoff predictions, and that's it. We got nothing else to do. So I'm hoping I can keep this about an hour. We'll see. We know how that tends to go when I get going. I think every match's veto is at least done. It doesn't appear that every match has its match day and time set. I mean, I think there's one. It doesn't show it on the match alerts or weekly matches page, but on the match alerts page, you can see the only one that I don't see a time and day for, I believe, is the M1 versus late arrivals game. I'm guessing it's just going to be default time, though. I think they both usually play basically default time. It's kind of shitty this season. I haven't been able to cast quite as many games as I typically have in the past. And going through all the casts for the season, there's definitely been, because most of the time we're playing our matches at the same time as everyone else, so I've gotten to do mainly afternoon games. So I think I've cast Sob and Over more than anybody else, and then I think I only got to do one M1 game. I think I only got to do like 2 spicy games, probably like 2 goose games, probably like 2 Los Wick games. I think for no-go, I've only got to do like 1/2 multiple times as well, which is really, really frustrating because I like casting no-go games. I've been doing it for a while. But yeah, this has just been, finally, after 4 seasons, finally our matches ended up just coinciding with everyone else's, which I don't like that. Seems like we used to always play either later than everyone else or separate days, and now this season has just been pretty much default time, or in some cases 10 o'clock or whatever. So if I haven't got to cast many of your games, that's why. I wish that I could just cast all the games all day long, like I was doing in Season 1 through 4, and then our matches were like on random days, Tuesdays, Wednesdays. But playoff time now, guess what? It looks like it's already going to be pretty much the same, because tomorrow night we're playing at like 8:30 or 9 Eastern or something, so I'll get to do an afternoon game. I guess it depends on how things go. If one of the 2 series goes to 3 and the other one goes to 2, then I'll get to do, 1.5 series. I try to get the most value out of all the casts that I do and get everybody as much time as I can, if at all possible. But if either of those series are anything like last week's Over versus Grey Hair Mafia game, there's no way I'm tuning out of it. I just can't. Like, I'm not going to leave in the middle of a third map to go catch the second half of someone else's game or anything. But if at all possible, I will do as many games as I can throughout the rest of the playoffs. Or we'll just get eliminated tomorrow, and then, semifinals of both of Silver A, finals of Silver B, all that, and the gold finals I'll be wide open for. Entirely possible, if not likely, to be honest. So that's at least a plus. In the meantime, Blender has done awesome with filling in the gaps of all the games that I've been unable to cast. He's done a bunch of our games too, which is awesome. Having pretty regular person casting our games here. Like Alapex was able to do a couple over the years. Nine has been able to do a couple. I think Corey. I know that there was one I think even like Nick did with Till and Corey and Tom and stuff back in like season 1 and 2. So people have filled in to get some of our games, but this is the first season where I think we've had like 3 or 4 casts done of ourselves, which is awesome. And I always appreciate anybody who takes a shot on casting. Even Jane took a shot on a Thundercast at one point on a map that she didn't know. So much appreciated everyone who does so. Now, let's get into this shit. Where do we want to start off here? Well, we're going to start off in silver. There's a lot to get done. I see almost no chance of me managing to make this 1 hour, but boy, oh boy, I'ma try. All right, so starting it off in the silver B side of things. On the top half of the bracket here, we've got HRG versus Los Wick. As I said yesterday, silver B, totally wide open to me. I think anybody could win in silver B, just flat out. So, on the HRG side, these guys have looked just better and better as the season has gone on. They really seem to find their stride and their identity in the second half of the season. G and Head Like a Hole have been mostly heavying in recent times. I know Nick just had a really nice game last week on Halley heavying, and then Mike on a rifle, R got a rifle, and then depending on who is or isn't there, like Storm would generally be sniping, and I think Nitro would be on a third, or if one of them is missing, if Storm's missing, Nitrox can snipe, Faraday can fill in, Blender can fill in, Gene can fill in. They have a pretty nice 10-man roster there of players you can pretty reasonably count. I think the only guy I haven't seen really play in many matches is Dolomus, who I'm sure if he needed to be playing, he'd be able to just jump in and do some shit. He's a very old school player who knows DoD like the back of his hand, even after plenty of time off. And then on the Los Wick side, this has also been a little bit more of a revolving door of a lineup. You got Jeraira, you got Ryan, Manga, AZ. I haven't seen Super play that much. Poco I've seen a couple times. Luco I've seen a couple times. Jiraiya Jr. plays pretty regularly. Leto I've seen a few times. And Empy, I don't think has played the last couple weeks, but was playing very regularly up until that point. So I guess we'll see what happens with that. That's always the question with a lot of teams, right? You never know what to expect lineup-wise. So let's look at what went down in that veto. Where can we swap this guy here? Like that. There we go. Okay, so Silver B. HRG versus Los Wick. Can I see exactly how this went? I should. Yeah, there we go. HRG bans Lennon. Okay. And then Los Wick bans Harrington. Okay. HRG goes with Anzio. A lot of old school players on HRG. Makes sense. Los Wick choosing Thunder. I like it. Then banning Armory. HRG going with banning Saints. And then RR2 as the decider. Seen a lot of RR2 decider maps over the years, right? There's been some pretty dramatic ones as well. So I suspect if it gets to that point, it will be full of drama. So Anzio, Thunder, Railroad 2. All right. Let me take a look in the past matchups. I could actually, I think, just do it this way. Okay. No. There. Boom. So, where are we here? All right. Anzio. HRG. They played Saab on Anzio. Really rough matchup, right? Saab are very good at Anzio, period. All their players individually are great at Anzio as well. And then Los Wick played Spicy. Same thing, right? You pretty much couldn't have had a worse draw for the Anzio week than those two teams. So not a lot to glean from that, to be honest. And then, where is Thunder? There it is. So Los Wick beats No-Go on Thunder. Huge. That is a huge win for Los Wick right there. A 40-point game, right? That's a full cap. Very, very impressive for them to have beat No-Go on that map. HRG, a very, very close loss to 3H, 92-84. This was a slightly different version of HRG. I think it was a slightly different version in the Anzio match too, to be honest. So maybe even more, not much to glean from this, but Loswick taking out No-Go, who is now the 5 seed in Silver A, and HRG almost beating 3H, who is now the 6 seed in Silver A, right? Two very close games, two teams that I suspect will have a pretty good idea of how they want to play the map. And then, Railroad 2. So HRG played against No-Go, and they lost by 31. And M1 took out Loswick there, 182 to 121. All right, so overall, out of those matches, I mean, Loswick taking out No-Go is very, very impressive to me. No-Go, I've seen play a lot of games on Thunder over the years, and they are generally pretty tough to beat on it. I'd have to look at the actual screenshots here if I can. That was what, week 3? Week 3, yeah. No-Go Loswick. Here we go. There it is. All right. No, that's HRG. The fuck? Where is it? M1 Spicy. Goose Sub. What? Where did it go? Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. So in this game, Manga played really well. AZ played really well. Jiraiya Jr. played really well. That's on Axis side. On Allied side, Jiraiya Jr. again. AZ again. Manga again. Okay. So seems like those guys. I mean, obviously, Empy with the heavy going bunker. I'm sure he's gonna be fine too, right? Like this is a guy who's played Donner and Thunder a million times. He's gonna be just fine. Let me see what it looked like for HRG. Who from that team? Oh, this was that 44-7 week of Max. That's right. When AimTech had 44, he went 44-7, which is just an insane half right there. All right. So that is interesting. They did not play each other on these maps. So just looking at the Anzio of it all real quick. Where were we? Anzio is week 4, if I recall correctly. Yes. All right, so HRG, again, this was still this older roster. Okay, Nick, G, Mike. And then, what do we have? Second half here. They weren't around at the end of the half. Okay. So I can't really see much out of that. And then where's the Loswick game? Should be right around here. Yeah, there it is. AZ with the nice half there on Axis. Ryan with the good half. MP, AZ, Jiraiya Jr. Okay. All right. Get a pretty good idea of what we're seeing there. And then Railroad 2, let me take a quick look at, obviously, if necessary, the case in this one. This also had Max playing and Illusion playing. ARG was there. I keep calling him ARG. It's gonna be a tough time for me to break that habit. But ARG 27, Head Like a Hole with 20 on Axis. What about on Allies there? 28 for ARG. 21 for Nick. Okay. And then Loswick in this game against M1. We had 29 on MP. That's right. MP had a nice game there. Manga and Poco and Jiraiya all had 23. Ryan had 21 on Axis. And on Allies, 28 for Manga. 24 for Jiraiya Jr. 22 apiece for Ryan and Jiraiya. Okay. All right. I like what I'm seeing there. So, just looking at this from the little bit of information we can glean from the season's matchups, from the stats from those matchups, just right off the bat, right, Anzio, for HRG side of things, lots of experience there. Guys who have been successful on Anzio many times over across the years. Loswick, they seem to be just fine on Anzio too, right? It's not like these guys are brand new to the game or anything like that. It's just a new team. I just, in this case, am going to favor the experience on Anzio because that map relies so much upon the feel for the game at that point, right? A lot of times you have to take risky rotations. You got to know the importance of street right off the bat. You know, that cannot be understated. How important street is on both halves. You got to get a hold on street. Axis side, you get there first. You generally, if you can win that battle and get Plaza off the back of it, that's going to be a good way to get the ball rolling downhill towards a full cap. I think HRG fully understands that right off the bat. They're not going to have any issues adjusting to that. Loswick, I'm sure they're watching this and will now understand that too if they didn't already, right? So I think that alone right there, boom. When you look at the bridge side of things, Mike over there, man, I've seen him rifle on bridge for 20 years. He is very good at it. Gonna have to deal with the sniper, right? And things nowadays are a little bit sketchy when it comes to like allied side bridge, dealing with the Axis sniper who's gonna be in meat, who's gonna be behind Tiki, stuff like that. It just feels like it's a oftentimes unwinnable battle for those Garans. That's why it's so Axis heavy, right, on the bridge side of things. But it can go both ways. All it takes, we saw it with Sokka in that over Grey Hair Mafia game. If you can go up there and hit 3 headshots, boom, there you go. Now you've turned the bridge in your favor. I'm going to lean with the experience on Anzio. It's also their chosen map, right? So I'm inclined to go with HRG. And then flip-flopping over to the Thunder side of things, right? Loswick won their Thunder matchup. HRG had a very close game, but the guys that are still on the roster from that team, they weren't really around in that game, right? Like, and the ones who were, I don't think they had like too much success in that matchup. I know I just looked at it. Now I need to look at it again because I'm fucking stupid. There it is. Yeah, not too much. Like, I'm not even sure. Realistically, you'll have like 2 or 3 from that roster playing again. Certainly, it could go back in the other direction. Again, if a guy like Mike can go off and like get control of Susie and Lower Church with the car, if you can get a nice sniper performance going, right, that always can even the playing field when it comes to a map like Thunder. Obviously, now it's not quite as Axis heavy for the snipers, but I say shit like that all the time. And what happens? The Axis sniper performance is better than anything I can do. Certainly, Storm, right? Storm is going to be very important in that game for HRG. Storm and the rifle teams, ARG, Mike, whoever the third rifle ends up being, whether it's Nick or Faraday or Gene or Nitrox, they're going to need big performances out of those guys. Storm has been like, you can set your watch to this guy's performances forever. So I suspect he will do everything he can to make it count. Loswick, on the other side, their sniper had a great game in their Thunder matchup as well. So if he can kind of keep things even there, keep control of mid from elevated places, it's the new version of Thunder as well, which, having played a scrim on it, it does play a bit different. You can't rely on mid-house to be just this catch-all safety option, like, oh, well, I can just ninja around mid-house and they won't get me. No, it's just one level now. You can easily nade into that level. There's that little staircase up to a window that's exposed, right, in the McDonald's arch area. So we're going to have to see how teams get to use in those spots differently now. For Loswick, they've proven, obviously, that they can, from the concept standpoint of how Thunder plays, they can make it work. And I'm banking on them. If they're picking that map, they still have a pretty good idea of what to do with it. If it's going 3, they're going to split their map picks. I think if it's a sweep, it's going the way of HRG. I could very much see Storm and the Rifles being able to just take out a dominant performance on both maps, right? I think that's, if a team is going to sweep, I think it'll be HRG, and it'll be because of that. Because a guy like Storm will put up massive numbers, a guy like Nitro, a guy like Gandhi. The heavies understand their role on that team really well. They've really come together as a team, I think, in the second half of the season, which is nice to see. But Loswick has too, right? I just feel like the big X-Factor game-breaking player in this series is Storm. So again, Storm didn't play last week, so maybe he's not going to be there, and maybe all this is null and void. But if there's a sweep, it's because Storm went off, dropped 160 kills across 2 maps, and that's how it happened. If it does go to Railroad 2, I mean, it is a little bit of the same story in that regard, where you've got a map where a sniper can really dominate the double cap, can really pick off guys in numbers and bunches. I'm inclined to go with HRG in this game just because Storm is so reliable to have big performances in big games against anyone, right? for Los Wick, the way to bring it back, right, is you got to contain him and you got to take advantage of the areas on the map where you feel like you can really lock it down. You don't want to get over aggressive and push straight into a trap where you end up losing your whole team. HRG, they have a lot of experience. They will be able to take advantage of that. Railroad 2, Axis side, holding apartments is tough. If Loswick can find a way to just get up in their face in apartments and lock it down, make the bars of HRG uncomfortable, I think they could take a Railroad 2. Same goes for Thunder, right? You need to find a good strategy for how to hold mid because mid house is no longer that strategy. I mean, it could be, but like realistically, if you get away with it for more than one attempt in a row, then the other team is fucking up because they should be just nading that. Like, just guys go throw nades into the lower mid house door, sniper picks the guy out of the window, etc. So I feel like just a matter of them, they have to find a good strategy to hold mid and then work off of it as a team, whether it be send 5 guys mid, leave 1 bunker, whether it be do something crazy like split 3-3, try to flood through bunker. I think they're going to need to find a way around that big old block that Storm is going to be in mid, because he's going to be tough to deal with just from a, shoot to kill kind of a standpoint. He is as good as anyone at shooting to kill when it comes to a sniper rifle. And on Anzio, Anzio, shit can go wrong very fast, right? It's difficult to work out of a ass up against the wall on our last flag situation and turn it into anything meaningful. Like, a lot of the time, you're just thankful to get out of that without getting capped on for a little longer, and then eventually it kind of turns back in your face. For Loswick, just gotta, again, emphasize the street, the sewers. It might not be the most exciting and explosive thing to do, but if you can lock down the street and the sewers area, that's the way you can fan out to the rest of the map and neutralize these fraggers that HRG has on their side. In particular, Storm, who I always expect to see him go like 30 and 10, right? 30 and 15. So that's what I'm going. I'm going with HRG, but again, to me, this whole playoff bracket is so wide open. All right, on to the next matchup here. We've got late arrivals versus M1. So on the late arrival side, I'm assuming Casino will be there, right? Guillermo and Secretly as a big old rifle combo. That is a lot for anyone to deal with, those two guys together. Nightmares has been excellent all season as well on a heavy. Azil on the sniper has been solid. Bojanglers on one of the heavies, and then is Bullet playing in third rifling? Is Insight getting in there to third rifle? Is Louis going to get in there to rifle? Epiata, lots of potential sixth that it's going to depend on, I guess what time it is for who can play and everything. Very strong roster, though. I think late arrivals, realistically, I'd say the favorite, just looking at what that roster looks like when they have all their big guns in. And on the M1 side, right, the big key is Moosh, Dustin. If he's playing, that immediately raises the stakes. He is just such an X factor kind of player. He's going to put up big numbers. He's going to have a good KD ratio. He's going to play well for his team. And like I said in the previous episode, like, he's the kind of guy who everyone else will be elevated by his being there and his performance and his experience and everything. Around him, you got Alapex, who's usually on a heavy. Same with Joel. Quarter can play anything, so can Red Dog. So, I think sometimes it just kind of depends who's there and who's not. Pizza Hut, great rifle. And same with Meep, right? Meep is a guy who's a newer player. We've seen it a bunch. He's got great mechanics, and it's just a matter of slowly putting the rest of the game together for him, and that could happen anytime. We've seen shades of it. Look at his performance on Saints against Goose. It looked like, he's really starting to find that next level. You could see that happen in an instant. It could be this fucking game. It could be map 3 of this game. You never know. They're going to need to have something to equalize the firepower that you're going to see out of especially that rifle team of late arrivals with Secretly and Casino. I mean, that is just so much. And if Louis playing too, that is a crazy, crazy rifle team between the three of them. Just so much to deal with. Secretly, it's like a guaranteed 65 to 90 kills out of him. Casino, when he's playing, same thing. Like, these guys are just so explosive. Really fun to watch. That to me was the biggest variable for late arrivals all season was, is Casino going to be there? Can Casino play? He didn't most of the season. Comes back for the last week, immediately puts up an impact performance, getting ready for the playoffs for these guys, which very, very big. Now, let's take a look and how the veto went. Swap this window over. I'm not making good pace, guys. I'm not making good pace. Oh, that's not the right window. There it is. Okay. I'm making terrible pace here. I need to pick my shit up. So, match alerts. Where are we at here? There it is. So, late arrivals, ban Anzio, M1 ban Thunder. Okay. Understandable. I think those have been relatively common bans overall, too. LA picks Harrington. Okay. M1 going Axis first. M1 going with Railroad 2. I like it. And then they also ban Armory. And Lennon 2 gets banned by late arrival. So a tiebreaker on Saints. That is interesting. I like that. I just talked about how Meep had such a good performance on Saints against the undefeated Goose, right? So that could bode well for M1. Of course, a map like Saints so much relies on the snipers and the rifles on Bridge. Secretly in Casino, a Zilla right there. But Dustin on the other side, he could just nullify all that single-handedly. That's really the sniper is the big crux on the Bridge on Saints. So right there, if Dustin's there, boom, all of a sudden, like that rifle team doesn't quite look as scary because the sniper is going to be favored in a lot of those battles, realistically. So it ends up with Harrington, Railroad 2, Saints. So just to take a quick peek at what went down in the season. Go there. Silver. Okay, so Harrington, right off the bat. Where do we have late arrivals? Right here. I actually casted this game, late arrivals versus 3H. They lost by like a cap and a half, or no, two and a half caps. But it was a very well-fought game against a tough 3H team right off the bat. I don't believe they had Casino for that game. And they definitely didn't have Louis yet at that point. So that right there does bring that score even a little bit closer if you got those guys in. And then M1 lost to No-Go. I didn't get to see that game. Certainly Harrington, I mean, you're talking to the expert of how fucking frustrating Harrington is in general. You probably are gonna favor late arrivals here just because they got these guys that are going to be able to swarm mid and make it dirty and throw good nades and just make it frustrating as all hell in that middle area. Whomever the third rifle ends up being, whether it's Bullet or Louis or Insight or Epion, whoever it may be, that's going to be a tough one to deal with, right? I did just get to play a game with Pizza Hut on Harrington the other day, and he looked very good going on Harrington as well. So that will help to even out the numbers when it comes to the Secretly and Casino and Azilla of it all, right? And obviously Dustin in mid going to be a big tipping point for M1 in this game. Mountain will become key too because especially, I mean really both halves, Mountain is flooding into where your sniper and your main rifle going mid are. And if you don't have control of that ladder and of your bridge and your sniper's unable to get any sort of comfort in these sniper areas that you want to be at because they're more favorable duels, that could really turn things back in either direction. For late arrivals, I recall them looking quite good against 3H in that first week, and with a roster that isn't even quite as good as it is now. Got Casino, got Secretly. Secretly had like 90-something kills in that game. I'll double check that score real quick, because I just remember Secretly had a fucking million kills. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So, Secretly had 36 on Axis, and he car-barred, and he had 41, looks like 41, yeah, on Allies. So, 77 kills for him there. Azilla had a good game. Bullet, I remember being all over the place, holding down mid, picking up the dead sniper and everything, doing a good job. I think that the heavy battle is going to be very, very important too, right? Bo and Nightmares versus Alapex. In particular, he's got a lot of experience. I don't know how he feels about Harrington. I don't know how most heavies really feel about Harrington anymore. It's one of those things where certainly I don't feel great about Harrington ever. But whether it's Red Dog or Three-Sided Quarter or Joel, that ends up as the other heavy there, or if it's one of, two of those three and Alapec's third rifles. They've got plenty of experience and guys who understand how to win on Harrington to level the playing field there. It more just comes down to the Secretly and Casino of it all, right? That is a really strong rifle team. That's going to be a lot to overcome on a match that involves so much reliance upon getting numbers out of your rifles, getting nade breaks on mid, nades going over fucking walls all over the place. Dustin can certainly keep things as level as humanly possible in mid, and I don't doubt that for a second. It's just a matter of if M1 can then also thin out the numbers so that it's not going to be Dustin and Pizza Hut versus like four guys in mid all the time, because that's just not going to be winnable at a high clip. More often than not, that will go the way of the four. But yeah, like I'll go with Late Arrivals on that map just because I really liked what I saw out of them versus 3H. They had good rotations. They looked like they had a good grasp on what they needed to do to be successful on the map. Just came up a little short. I think that'll be a close game though. I think that the mid team of potentially Dustin and Pizza Hut will be a strong mid team, and most of the time now teams are sending another guy there full time too. Like honestly, two guys mid seems like you're selling yourself short on that map anymore. It's been a little bit crazy to watch and to play against a lot of the time, but whether it's Meep. I would assume that it would be Meep because he's another rifle, right? Unless you're going to send a light as a third guy there, which you certainly can do. Or somebody like Joel. You could put Joel on one of the rifles, whichever one. He's gone mid forever and ever as both a sniper and a rifle. Just go watch the Checkmate movie and check out the clip that he got on LAN in mid on Harrington because it was fucking sick. WSVG versus the eventual third place team in PK, right? If he can do it there, he can do it now. But I'm going with Late Arrivals for the first one, just regardless. So into the second map that we end up on here, it was Railroad 2. So I'm going to go back and check these Railroad 2 scores out real quick. That was week 2, I believe. Where am I? No. I don't want to be there. I need to be further back up. There we go. Railroad 2. All right. So M1. We actually just talked about this match. M1 versus Los Wick on Railroad 2. M1 took that one, which makes sense why they would pick it here. Quarter had himself a really good allied side. Red Dog as well, going apartments with the bar. Alapex as well. Of course, Dustin, 27 and 17 there on allies. Axis side. Everybody was pretty even on Axis side. It was pretty much a team effort at that point for them on Axis side. Okay. So again, of course, that's why they're picking the map. They feel confident on it. They were able to take out Loswick on it. And then on the other side, Late Arrivals played against Saab, which is, again, like a nightmare matchup on most maps. In this game, Late Arrivals, no Secretly, no Casino. So they were missing the biggest big guns of the bunch there. Azilla had himself a good allied side and a good Axis side. That's encouraging because you're going to have to deal with Dustin. And he will be getting his on that map. He is very good at Railroad 2. Nightmares had a good game as well. I think that he actually car-barred in this game, if I recall correctly, because both Nightmares and Nightmare were both car-barring, which was kind of cool. Insight had a good game there as well. In this case, right, you got to deal with Dustin and Pizza Hut in mid. Train, I think, will be an interesting battle too. It's a thing that I think is very underrated, but we just saw it in the match against us, right? Where Sam and Scott were able to get out of Train on their Axis side and just make life a living hell on that side of the map for a while. It's very difficult to retake that area now with the added little box cover on the right side, so they can be anywhere. I think if either team can make the most of Train, that can really help a lot with alleviating the pressure on mid, and then of course apartments, right? The heavy battle. Comes down to that on so many maps in this game. Based on just the results of their Railroad 2 games, you got to take M1, right? Their heavies look like they had a pretty good time in apartments, especially on their allied side there. I think that overall, on the mid side of things, they're going to be in good shape, right? Of course, the way that Late Arrivals brings it back is going to be through Secretly and Casino, right? Like these guys are studs. And the sniper battle, right? You can't let Dustin get too comfortable in the lofts. If he does, he will just pick you apart. He will hit those shots. You got to make it difficult on him. You got to make him feel like paranoid, right? Changing angles, not just able to look at the spots where he knows guys are going to be coming from. He won't miss those shots. That's going to be the big way for late arrivals to bring that back. I think that the biggest thing too, again in this case, like you could just see dominant performances out of the big guns on either side to just take it and sweep it, right? And there's enough skill on both teams to be able to have a couple of big performances that can just swing either map in either direction. If it's Secretly and Casino, those guys are going to be tough to deal with no matter what. But if there's anybody who can do it, I believe in the Mooshes and the Pizza Huts of the world. And, Meep, if it comes down to a straight up mechanical battle, like, I'll take Meep up against anybody. The guy is lightning fast and has ridiculous aim. That right there could be the great equalizer in the bunch. Get a big performance out of Meep, have his big coming out party here in the 1.3 community in the playoffs. That could be very, very interesting from a storyline perspective, I would say. And then Saints, the big third map here. Again, I would prefer to have every series go to 3 maps because it's really fun for me to cast those high stakes, series deciding who's going out to the golf course early, so to speak, scenarios. So like I'm always thinking about it like, hey, let's get that third map, right? So for M1, they lost a very, very close game to Goose Patrol. That is actually the closest Goose has come to losing their undefeated season, was against M1 on Saints. So right away, Dustin, 30-16 on Allies. Like, they're going to have to deal with that. Azilla's going to have his hands full Secretly. Casino, all these guys going. Really, because, like, the Broken Bridge side, too. Like, it's not like you're out of the way. The sniper can still deal with you there. Right there, lot to overcome. Meep, 34 kills on the Garand, too. Three-sided quarter, 28 kills. Red Dog, 25 kills. All these guys on Allied side of Saints look great. And then on the Axis side, quarter again with 26, 25 for Dustin, 23 for Alapex, 24 for Red Dog, 20 for Meep. Like, these guys seem to be pretty adept at Saints. If they can push it to Saints, very, very good for them, right? And then on the late arrival side, they played Los Wick. They won that game by 62 points. Wow. Secretly with 45 kills on the car. What did he have second half? 35. He had 80 kills there. So right there, that kind of brings the odds back in that direction, right? If Secretly's going to put up a performance like that. Azilla with 29 on Axis and 26-16 on Allies. Louis ended up with about 55 kills as well. Bo with 31 on the bar, very helpful. Nightmares 27 on the STG. Nightmares has a lot of good Axis halves. I love to see that out of a heavy. You don't see that often anymore. Spoon is one of the ones that's always good. And Milo seems to have a lot of good STG halves as well. Kaboom is really good with the STG. Taylor's... I guess it's really just guys that are good with the heavy can be good with the STG, okay? Once I thought about it, I was wrong. Man, I don't know. This is going to be a very interesting one if this gets to a third map. I like the way these teams match up in every area here, potentially. Jeez, that is tough. What would I do? Gun to my head. I mean, first of all, they're going to need big performances out of all the people that have big performance in this Saints game against Goose, right? And obviously, Goose, an undefeated team, to put up a game like that against those guys under any circumstances is fucking impressive. So if they can find a way to replicate that in a third map, I'm going to assume, right, if Goose had trouble overcoming it, so too will late arrivals. But late arrivals do, again, have that great equalizer of that rifle tandem, man. Secretly had 80 kills all the same in this game. If he does that, it might not matter what anybody else does, unless you get the same thing out of, like, 2 guys on the M1 side. Thing is, Casino might be right there getting 75, right? The snipers are going to be very stressed out in that game because they're dealing with a lot of very fast rifles between Meep and Pizza Hut and Casino and Secretly and Quarter and fucking Louis and, whoever ends up rifling, right? Because the rosters, you're not certain all the time. Man, I don't know. I'm going to go with late arrivals overall in the series. I just, that Casino and Secretly Rifle team is so fucking deadly. The way around that is to find dominance everywhere else, and make them not be able to get into so much of a groove that they can go off for 75 to 80 kills in any given map. You got to dominate in the heavy side of things and the sniper side of things. You know, Whatever routes they're going, you need to just commit to making it filthy, make it dirty, make it slow, force them to come to you. Just don't take straight out aim duels at range with guys like those guys, especially when they're feeling saucy, because you will lose them. Everyone will. They're too good. Secretly's a legit pro fucking gamer. Casino basically is too, CSGO. But to me, it's not insurmountable, honestly. Looking at that game, Goose versus M1 on Saints, tells me a lot right there. That they were the team most likely, when all is said and done, in the rearview mirror to have taken out Goose for their lone loss this season. And that is very impressive because no one else came that close. So, hey, man, it's very, very doable. It's just not going to be easy with that crazy rifle combo. And then, of course, the leadership and experience of Bullet, whether he's playing or not, these guys will be well prepared for this. And it's not like their other players are slouches either when you're throwing in, I mean, 6 players at very least that I've seen across these 3 maps I've looked at that are averaging around 55 to 60 kills across multiple maps there, Bowen and Nightmares are no slouchy heavy team. Nightmares, like I said, I've seen quite a few really strong Axis halves out of him. But yeah, I'm going with late arrivals overall. But I could see this game for sure going 3 maps. And that Saints game being a real butthole clencher. So I'm kind of hoping for that. Even if I don't get to cast it, which doesn't say what time they're playing just yet. So, it's possible I'll be able to. I don't know. But if not, I'm sure Blender will be on top of that shit. All right. Moving on up to the Silver A portion of the show. Let me swap this window out for the Discord side of things. What? Where'd it go? There we go. Unbelievable. All right. Let's take a looky-see here. So, match alerts. What do we got? We've got Spicy versus 3H. All right. So this is obviously a matchup with history. This was the finals of Silver last season. They just played each other on Halley. This is going to be, I think, a very, very tight game all around. Okay, so right off the bat, we got a ban of Harrington for Spicy. We've got a ban of Saints for 3H. That's interesting. I gotta look and see what was the matchup for Spicy on Harrington. They played against Saab, 326 to 250. Oh yeah, I think I casted that game too because it would have been an afternoon game. That was a good one. 69 point differential in the end. Okay. But not even just taking their games on those maps this season into account. They played each other on plenty of fucking maps too. Of course, 3H banning Saints, they had that down to the wire game against Saab where they lost in a close one. Spicy picks Thunder. That's not a big surprise. You got multiple snipers who can deal with that map, whether you're going with Stamp or going with Stealth. I assume they're going to just keep things going with the lineup they've come this far with, right? And either way, they will be golden when it comes to the sniper situation. Ian Galasso will have his hands full. Not only that, but the rifles. We're always talking about the rifles on this team. It maybe doesn't give enough attention to how good Twist and Stealth have been together on the heavies. But, Die Life, Dillard, and Laura have proven to be as consistent a rifle team as there is in the game. And that bodes well for Thunder. Lennon on the 3H side. So now we're getting into the heavy side of things, right? A Modgers and Piff heavy duo that I'm always talking about being potentially the best heavy duo in Silver. If they have both those guys there, bodes well for them. They then banned Armory, which I totally understand. And banning Anzio. I would do that too. This season, Anzio and Armory were shellackings when it came to my experience. Thanks, bandits. Ugh. But yes, so 3H bans Armory, Spicy bans Anzio, which leaves Railroad 2, which, again, a decider on Railroad 2. Man. All right. Let me go through this overview real quick. Okay. Thunder, Thunder, Thunder. There we go. Spicy played against M1. And that was, where'd it go? There it is, 268 to 27. As you can see, really ridiculous performance out of Stamp there. 38 and 14 on Allies, and 27 and 14 on Axis. Just like 3-to-1 KD ratio. Kevin 30 on the bar. Die Life and Dillard with 66 kills combined there on Allies. Just 167 kills as a team is a lot on Thunder. And then 175 for good measure second half. Look at that. 39 for Matt. I mean, maybe not everyone does, but I can tell you, Matt was like a Susie artist of all time back on Donner. Obviously, Thunder not quite as favorable in Susie, but I would guess that Matt has found a way to get a lot of value out of that Susie area still. Same with Luke, and Luke has the Stas on this map, and that just means more bullets for him to take off your head with, right? Kevin had 33 on an Unter. You love to see a sniper unchanged there. Or unchained, not unchanged. 2-to-1 for Stamp as well. 22 for Ryan there. And then Laura on the car doing the dirty work in mid. That's going to be a big key for any Thunder game that gets played, is what teams do to get a hold on mid once they've got it now. Now that mid house isn't the OP, powerhouse area that it had been in the past, that was really difficult to clear. Now it's just like one well-placed nade, boom, mid house is down. There's still a window up there, but you're kind of exposed. Going to be very interesting to see there. And then 3H played against HRG. We looked at that game a little bit earlier. So let's see what we got here. 25 for Johnny. This is actually a pretty even game across the board. 25 for Johnny, and everyone else is like right around 20 on Allied side there, which they tied overall for the score. And then same thing on the Axis side. Jesus, they're all right there. 18 is the bottom, 23 is the top. That's a team performance right there, and a half that they won by 8. Again, on that mid side of things, they're going to have their hands full no matter what. They're going to need to come into this with a good idea of who's doing what, who they're sending where, what their assignments are when they have mid, what their assignments are when they don't have mid, how they're going to retake it, what they're going to do right after they get mid, because that's sometimes like the biggest turning point. It's not just getting mid, it's did we escape with our lives? We have 1 second to get into spots to hold before we get blown up by nades and 3 people are peeking. And if anybody's going to be triple peeking with perfect timing, it's going to be Spicy, because they are the epitome of team. So 3H going to have to really have their shit in order on that side of things. On Thunder, of course, the sniper battle, Ian and Stamp, or Ian and Stealth. Ian going to have to be on point. He's looked good lately, in that Halley game. We saw what he can do, just a bursty 6K scoping in with the sniper. Certainly capable of it. The rifles as well. Whichever rifle tandem it ends up being. I'm assuming that we'll see a Modgers and Piff on the heavy side of things, so Defrag won't have to heavy, right? But like an Illusion and Warchild and Defrag as the 3 rifles, that is a strong rifle team there. That'll be a fun battle in mid. Thunder can come down, though, most of the time to just plain teamwork, right? It gets grimy. It gets very slow. And that's, Spicy's teamwork is, to me, their biggest strength. You see them more often than anybody where they're all bunched up in kill total. Like, nobody's really having to, carry the load all the time. They are just so well balanced across the board. They really understand how each other want to approach the game. They really understand rotations and working off of one each other and timing peaks together. And attacking things as a unit rather than just like, hey, I'm going to go push here, and then when I die, you can deal with the next guy, which is kind of just the flow that DoD becomes at a certain point with the constant respawn. You can get into that kind of flow of things, and that can work just fine too, but against a good team, it can really be problematic if you're not thinking about it from a unit perspective. Okay, so then, Lennon. what do we have for the season situation for these boys on Lennon? Lennon. There we go. So Spicy played HRG. Class-wise, Lynx was playing in this game, so no Stamp. But, Lynx put up great numbers as a sniper. You can expect pretty much the same thing out of Jared there. I know in the past Matt hasn't been a big fan of Lennon, but it seems like he's gotten over that with that kill total of 43 right there. I was just checking to see if you guys could even see what I was looking at. Wait, that's the wrong game. What the fuck? There we go. Yeah, so we ended up with 70. Kevin, 38 on an STG. 36.74, you stud. Ryan at 25 and 35 for 60. Another guy who I think very good at Lennon, understanding how to lock down apartments, and he's going to need to against Piff and Modgers. They are both elite Lennon heavies. Dillard, man, 34 there. 28 for 60. They all had so many kills. Let's see. What about over here? Did I miss anybody? Laura with 27. I think she had 50 as well. Yep. Everybody had like 50 plus kills. That's insane. That is insane. Okay, and then 3H. Where are they? There they are versus Los Wick. Okay, so yeah, 35 on Piff, 34 on Matt, 31 on Defrag, 25 for Ian, 24 for Mike, 23 for Johnny. And then in the other half, 41 for Illusion, Jesus, 40 for Matt, 32 for Piff, 28 for Johnny, 27 for Ian, 21 for Defrag. Guys who have to go long on this map, in solidarity, I feel the pain, man. Now, I mean, I'm going to take 3H in this situation just because I know how good their heavies are going that most important route, right? But they can't get, even if it's going very, very well for them in apartments on the heavies, they cannot get complacent in the other areas because Spicy they will notice and they will find a way to exploit that. And they have plenty of firepower on both sides of the map to do so. It's going to be a handful, certainly, for Ryan and Kevin in apartments. But, all it's going to take is them realizing, hey, they're also sending a car through apartments. So, is a guy down right now. Or, oh, hey, the sniper hasn't really been peeking apartments. Where's he at? Is he sitting underpass? Finding gaps in the opponent's defense, Spicy's always been very good at. I was just talking about it last week going into Halley. They had a game against Romario on Halley last season, maybe, where they were continuously finding the gaps. And that's the reason they won the game, because they got this close to being capped. It just even kind of happened on Halley against 3H, to be honest. They were always in good position. And in this game, 9 out of 10 times, if you have the superior position, you're going to usually win the sequence of events out. Unless you get robbed by the game sucking and you shoot right through someone, or the cone of fire robs you, or whatever. It's a broken game, so a lot of times that can be the factor alone. But 3H, it's just a matter of staying sharp throughout the map, not getting too far out ahead of yourselves, and just kind of sticking to the game plan, going through the motions, not losing track of anybody, not letting Spicy find a way to get through and grab a double cap and then turn shit around on you like they are so good at doing. But again, I'm always thinking about going 3 maps here, so I'm going with 3H because I want 3 maps. And the last match, Railroad 2. I gotta go way back through here, son of a bitch. Okay, Railroad 2. There we go. M1, 3H. Okay, so 3H played Goose. For 3H against Goose, I remember this game too. Yeah, man, PDX was nuts in that game. And the heavies were really, really good for Goose as well, which I've talked about pretty fucking constantly, right? Crod and Hopper are such a good heavy team. Lot to deal with on any map. For Matt and Piff, they found ways around it a good chunk of time on Railroad 2, but it was just such a clinical performance from Goose Patrol here across the board. So, where's the Spicy game? There it is. They lost by 10 to Romario. Romario on Railroad 2, right? Let's see. Stealth at 28. 21 apiece for Laura and Matt, 18 for Jared, 14 for Lynx, 7 for Twist and Train. And then in the other side of things, we had 30 for Lynx, 27 for Kevin, 26 for Jared, 25 for Matt, 17 for Laura, and 13 for Twist and Train. The train battle will, of course, be always on Railroad 2. It's something that is so underrated and how important it can be. Like, you really dictate. The train players dictate how train's going to get played. Both guys can just be like, fuck it, I'm a brick wall. I'm just going to set up defense here and make sure that my route doesn't become a problem, that's probably the most common way to do it, right? You can also do what like Clinic did against us, especially on Axis side, send multiple guys through there, try to overwhelm them with numbers on that side of the map. It can get really dicey if you get two guys on their Axis side out to the Allied second flag from train, dumping nades into spawn, pushing into ticket. That's a tough shot to hit from anywhere else on the map. That's going to have a lot to do with who gets the success there. The battle in apartments, obviously, also going to be very important, as it always is on Railroad 2. You usually got to favor the allies. They got two bars there most of the time. I think Matt will probably, as in Matt Vazana, Die Life will probably car bar on this map. I know he's done it in the past on Railroad maps for them, because Ryan doesn't often take a bar into train, but you never know. I mean, he has also done that in the past too. So it's very possible we'll see a Die Life car bar game here, and that right there, he could win the game single-handedly by putting up 90-something kills. That's not going to be overcome. And Luke going four-way on Axis side is just such a menace, man. He is so hard to deal with there. He will find a way to put up numbers going four-way with that car and going through ticket into four-way with the Garand. For 3H, they're going to have to deal with that, right? Johnny in four-way, going to have his hands full with Luke there and dealing with Stamp Up and Loft. The sniper battle, once again, very important. Two elevated spots. On the Axis side as a sniper, you kind of need your apartment team to at least establish control of balcony. Even if you can't get all the way pushed up into lower apps and fully lock it down, like you gotta have an idea of where they're at and not let them get to balcony. Or if they are going to get to balcony, your sniper needs to know that, so he's not sitting there looking at white or looking at loft, right? And that's a way a good team can take advantage of that area of the map. Let the sniper know, like, hey, I'm pushing balcony, so, like, right now, either the sniper's going to be looking at you and I'm going to kill him, or the sniper's going to look at me and you can kill him. These are things that Spicy will be good at doing just through their natural chemistry together as a team. Moders and Piff in apartments, right, on the allied side, especially with those bars, getting sandbag control, getting balcony control, keeping Spicy from being able to get into a rhythm and get into their routine, go on their routes, just finding shots, finding angles, finding picks. As much as they can do that and control apartments and flow out through that area to put pressure on other areas of the map, going to be the key there. I don't know what to expect here. On Halley, Spicy looked like the superior team, but 3H looked like a very gritty, scrappy team. They fought back. They almost pulled it off a few times, but Spicy's superior teamwork and experience together won out there. So much skill on display in this series as well. Just lots of really good DoD players, man. Anybody could go off and take over this series and win it for either team. I fully expect this series to go 3 games because it wouldn't be fitting otherwise. Like, it just makes sense for these two teams to go 3 games. Spicy trying to get back that loss from the finals last season, avenge the one ghost from the past so they can move on and try to finish off a championship this season, which, them, Goose, Romario, you can't forget about Romario, Saab, like there's a lot of big dogs in this yard, but Spicy as a team might be the biggest dog when it comes down to like the really most important aspects of like going on through a deep playoff run and winning a ring out of it, right? So I'm inclined to go with Spicy here. But with 3H, man, like you could just see a guy like Piff, Illusion, Matt, Johnny, Ian, Defrag, any of these guys can go off for a big 80 kill game in any of these maps and turn it back into their direction. Like I think beyond doing the fundamentals well, right? They just have to play as a unit at least close to as much as Spicy is doing naturally. If they don't do that, Spicy will be able to just pick them apart and run through it. I would say most likely if this thing only goes to, it's because Spicy won 2-0. For 3H though, they seem to be playing together pretty regularly and getting things down, getting themselves back into the swing of things for the playoff time, getting sharp as a team, as individuals. So I expect this to be a fucking dogfight to the bitter end. Whoever loses is going to be fucking furious. Whoever wins is going to be ecstatic. That's what competition is all about, right? Like, here we are in 2024 playing a competitive game in a league. It's all about asserting dominance over your enemies when it comes down to it. Because there's really not much else on the line. It's just all bragging rights, right? So, Spicy has a lot on the line in this game, trying to get back that loss in the finals last season, and I think they are primed and in position to do so. But I would not be at all surprised to see 3H take this thing in 3 on the back of big performances from their big dogs, from the Illusions, the Modgers, the War Childs, etc. But just from a base perspective, I'm going with Spicy. Just from a team like these, that's what they are. They are the definition of a unit in this game. I just gotta call like I see it. All right, on to the next one. Oh my God, it's already been a fucking hour. God damn it, Corey, you fucking idiot. Okay, stupid. Where are we? There it is. All right, so we've got Saab versus No-Go here. No-Go is going to have a whole lot of question marks when it comes to the lineup. I don't know what to expect out of their lineup basically ever. I'm actually just going to look at their most recent matches to try to see who's likely to play. Oh, this is Anzio. Way to go. Way to go, Corey. Back to the overview we go. I did get to catch some of their Halley games, so I know a little bit of what their lineup looked like. So I'm going to go back to Lennon and see what it looked like in that case when they played Romario. Let's see here. Spoon, Stark, Anna, War Within, Deidro, Trance. Yeah, that sounds about right. Maybe they bring Tony in, right? That would be a good idea right now. Try to get Tony in there. I don't know how much he's been playing DoD lately, I guess, right? But certainly a guy that if you can get him in that lineup, going to be very, very helpful. But then on the Saab side of things, you do pretty much know what to expect out of Saab 99% of the time. It's going to be Nightmare, it's going to be Scotty, it's going to be Kingyo, it's going to be Toki, it's going to be Caleb, it's going to be Manor, it could be Baron in there too, right? Their team has been generally pretty dependable on who the 6 are. You could see JN in there too. Obviously, one of the best backups you can have right now. But usually it's been like Scotty and Nightmare and Kingyo on rifles. Nightmare also car bars on occasion. And then Caleb and Manor technically heavying, and then Toki sniping. Baron can play anything. Yanni can play anything. Very, very versatile bench players that they've got there to work with. So, where did the pick ban go? I was just looking at it. There it is. Right off the bat, Saab bans Lennon. I'm guessing that is more of like a counter pick. You don't want to let Stark and Spoon or Stark and Compton or Spoon and Compton potentially run wild on that map, right? That's getting one out of the way that you know they are fond of. No-Go, smart ban of Thunder, 100%. Agree with that. I wouldn't want to play Saab on Thunder either. Saab picks Armory. I like that pick. They've looked great on Armory every time I've watched them play it. They even had it in playoff series last season and looked excellent on it. No-Go picks Anzio. No-Go beat 3H on Anzio this season. Again, I like that pick for them. And then they banned Saints, and then Saab banned RR2, a Harrington decider. We've seen these teams play on Harrington and have crazy games with each other. This one going 3 would be awesome. So let's just start off. I should have never gone through map by map what they did on these maps all season. That's why this is going to take so long, because I went through each individual fucking screenshot that every team had on their maps that they picked. God damn it. Stupid, Corey, stupid. Alright, so Armory. Right off the bat here. Oh, they actually played each other. That makes even more sense now, doesn't it? So that makes this, it'll take a little bit less time. So, Saab beats No-Go by 152. No-Go did have Tony playing in this game. It was Tony, Spoon, Stark, Deidro, Anna, War Within. That's a pretty solid lineup right there. And on the Saab side of things, no Caleb this time. Yanni played, and Yanni put up some big numbers there. 37 with the bar, and not as many with the STG, but that's fine. He had his impact. Nightmare with 38 on the car. 34 for Toki. The sniper battle, right? Going to be very key on a map like Armory. Finding success on Axis, I think, in this map has been more difficult than Allies. Just the nature of the Garans being able to spam the loft and the way the nade angles have all worked out. This is a bit newer version of the map. There's more room to play with on the bridge side. If you want to push up onto the bridge as a sniper, you can find some angles where you have some protection. That's going to be important, I think, is these two snipers finding ways to get value out of their Axis side in particular. I expect they'll both be just fine on Allies. Axis side, though, it's a little bit dicier. At least it was in the previous version. Now it might be a little bit easier to get some more kills than they would have otherwise gotten. Toki always has good performances on this map. I've watched a lot of their matches on it. However many they've played, I think I've casted them all, and Toki's played very well in every single one of them. They almost lost to Shut Up We're Trying on it, and they managed to pull a Ninja Cap out of their ass, because again, this is a team that plays really well as a unit. And they do the finer things in the game too, the more intricate things like ninja capping and super rotation, stuff like that. Very, very good at. No-Go, shitload of experience, shitload of frag power, right? But we already saw how this matchup went. So for No-Go to win this matchup, I'm going with Saab, clearly, since they won it. No-Go has to go back, check out what went wrong in that first game, see if they can make some adjustments, or if it just came down to they had a good day, we didn't have our best day, right? Whatever the case may be, No-Go at least has the ability to do a little scouting by checking out the previous game. Oh man, it looks like Greg had a crazy fucking game heavy in there. 73 kills, of course. Greg, you fucking animal. But yeah, I mean, I'm going with Saab here just because not only did they win this exact matchup earlier in the season, but they've won all their Armory games, and they look great doing it all the time. So, I mean, that's kind of an easy pick just because we've seen it already. But certainly avenues for No-Go to get their way back into this game and be able to win it. They just got to do a little bit of studying to see where it went wrong. Okay, and then what was the next one? Wasn't Thunder. Harrington was the third map. Was it Railroad 2? Am I stupid? Don't answer that. How have I already forgotten? Anzio. Duh. No-Go picked Anzio, which is they won against 3H on it. That's right. I literally said that out loud at the time, too, and I already forgot it. Okay. So... Anzio. Wait, what? Where'd it go? Season 5 gold. Oh, do I really have to go all the way down like that? Huh. Interesting. Okay, anyway, so Saab played against High Rollers on this one. Here's the thing. We already know how good Saab is at Anzio, right? We've seen them... Usually they either win on Anzio or they lose in like a nail-biter, back and forth, absolute barn burner of a game. All of them are good at this map. All of them. They are all good at it. Manor, very, very, very good at this map. This might be his best map. This and Shamil in particular, very, very good at. Same with Toki. Same with Kingyo. Nightmare, I haven't seen him rifling on this map all that much. But certainly when he sniped, he was an absolute god on this map. Unbeatable. Like a guaranteed 70-plus kills and 30 or less deaths. All very, very good at this map. Now, where's the No-Go game on Anzio? There it is. No-Go versus 3H. They won by about 25. So on the No-Go side, Trance with a nice car half there. 37. War Within doing sniper things. 30 and 16. Tony with 23 on the Unter. I'm guessing going bridge with that, which is a nice play. Anna with 21 on the car. That's a good Axis half right there. Taking the W on the Axis side by any amount, very good. And then on Allied side, Tony with the bar, 33, the big boy there. Another 28 for War Within, almost a 2-to-1 KD as well. Ana with another nice half there with 24. Stark with 21. Trance 18 and Deidre 15. It's going to be a tough fucking game here, right? For No-Go on their map pick. There's certainly plenty of game tape on Saab playing Anzio that they can look into. I think that might be a lot of what it comes down to is just figuring out where they might be able to take advantage of on both these maps, right? If No-Go's putting their best 6 out there, they've got the guns to be able to hang with the firepower of Saab for sure. I just don't know how much No-Go is like scrimming. I know that in past seasons they were very active. If Tony plays, I don't know how much he's been playing DoD lately in general. Clearly in that game he was able to step in and put up big numbers right off the bat. But Saab, I know, is getting their hours in. They're practicing as a team. They're finding grenades. These guys throw some of the craziest grenades. They're finding nades that I've never seen. And that's saying a lot, because I thought I knew every nade in the game. And then King Yo threw a nade that I had never seen thrown before. Like, these guys are coming prepared. I would lean Saab in this game, but I'm going to pick No-Go because I want a third map because I think Harrington will be very fun with these two teams. I'm going to go with No-Go. I think they pick the map. There's something about it that they feel they can outmatch Saab on. But if this goes 2-0, it's going Saab. Because Anzio is not a weak map for them by any standard. It is actually a strong map for them. And then the hypothetical decider on Harrington. In season 4 or 3, one of the two, we saw these guys play each other on Harrington and have like a 10-point game on it. So we saw week 1 there, Spicy versus Saab. Spicy wins that game by about 70. It was 69 to be on the dot. 31 there for King Yo, 40 for Nightmare, 31 for Caleb as well, 26 for Scotty, 23 for Manor, 19 for Yanni. And then on their Allied side, we had 32 for King Yo, 31 for Nightmare, 29 for Manor, 26 for Caleb, 25 for Scotty, 19 for Yanni. And then for No-Go, we've got Deidre with 45, Stark for 34, Trance for 31, War Within for 28, Ana 26, Koi 16. I'm guessing Koi won't be playing though. And then on their Allied side, 38 for Ana there, big half for her. 37 for Deidre, what a game for him. 32 for Trance, what a game for him too. 31 for War Within, 26 for Stark, and then Koi with 20, but again, I doubt he'll be playing in this game. That game, if it gets that far, will be very, very fun. I could probably go back and find the screenshot for this game. Let me just swing it on up here. Did I just go way up to Season 3? Season 4. What week was Harrington? There's Railyard. There's Harrington. Okay. Wow, 3H played Spicy on Harrington in this season right there. Okay. There it is. No-Go versus Saab. So this game was the one where Saab had lag outs. Multiple lag outs. And then No-Go was very sportsmanlike, and they all just froze in place. I'm sure that some shit was going down while they were still trying to like get everything figured out and stuff. So like to me the score was closer than that point total. You can see there with Toki's score only 17 and 7, and I think Nightmare was the other lag out there at 11 and 15. But yeah, these teams are very, very nicely matched up. Obviously different lineups overall, but Saab is actually pretty much the same there, just No-Go, pretty different. J-Rod is there, Saf is there, Apple is there, he's not there anymore. Matthew could certainly be playing, Spoon could certainly be playing Deidre. I would say almost guaranteed that at least 2 of them, if not 3 of them, will be in this game. Will Tony be playing? I think Tony could be a big, big X factor for No-Go on this map. If he can like lock down Mountain potentially, or whatever route he goes. Like if you have both Stark and Spoon playing, so you put Tony on a rifle. Having that extra experience and firepower in the lineup could be very, very important for No-Go here. No idea if he's going to play. No-Go, a lot of the time it just comes down to what 6 they put out there. They have a very, very high ceiling. It's just a matter of having all the best players in there. When you see that team out of No-Go, it's like, oh man, like these guys could beat anybody. But I don't know how often this season they've been able to deploy that lineup. They've got a lot of good players. Saab is such a good team, though, right? To me, Saab is the favorite here. Saab is most likely to take it, but no-go, if they can just get that right 6 out there, these maps are very winnable for them. I suspect Saab wins Armory either way, but both Anzio and Harrington can go the way of no-go very easily. They just need the right team out there and to just stay calm because they're going to run into problems. Saab is relentless, right? They will not stop fucking you up. It's just a matter of weathering the storm and finding your opening and, keeping calm, keeping good comms, not getting down on yourself. Shit happens, man, especially in a Harrington game and an Anzio game. It's very much a seesaw. That's how No-Go can find a way to win, but I'm going with Saab here, and that does it for Silver. Where are we at now? Oh my god, Corey, you fucking suck, dog. What the fuck? Stupid. So, let me just make sure that was it, right? Okay, that was it for Silver. So overall, just to recap here, the picks were HRG, Late Arrivals, Spicy, and Saab. I think that's not particularly, plot twisty, right? I think those are generally the higher seeded teams, but whatever. So we'll start off here with, do I start off with mine and try to just get it out of the way relatively quick? I'll do Bandits versus Over first and see where the time is at to decide how much I'm going to talk about my own game. All right, so Bandits versus Over. Let's take a look. All right, right off the bat, Bandits bans Thunder. Thunder, a little bit of an X factor with the new mid-house. Bandits, maybe their best weapon on Thunder was Colin, Timo. And without mid-house being as big of a factor, I mean, plus Thunder is just random. You can give up a ninja cap, right? It's just too much of a toss-up. I would completely do the same thing. Over ban Saints, same thing. It's not a map that everyone's playing all the time. I totally get it with these two teams in particular. Bandits goes Lennon. Of course, why wouldn't they? Look at that team. That is a lot of Lennon specialists across the board. Any heavy team they put out there is going to be insane. Whether it's Milo and Taylor, Taylor and Kaboom, Milo and Kaboom, Justin and Kaboom, Justin and Taylor, Justin and Milo, Element and Milo, Element and Taylor, Element and Kaboom. Any version of that heavy team is going to be insane and a lot for Over to deal with. Over goes Anzio. Again, also understandable. Over. Very good at Anzio. Historically, we just saw them in a very, very hard-fought game against Grey Hair Mafia. Lots of teams could have found a way to throw that game. Over stuck to their shit. They kept it together. They kept their composure. They won it out in the end. But Bandits, obviously no slouch on Anzio either. They whooped our asses up and down that motherfucking map. Not going to be an easy game for either side here. And then Over bans Armory. Same deal here. I would do the same thing because, again, Bandits stuck a fist square up our Rudy Poo candy asses on Armory. Don't take the chance. Bandits getting rid of Railroad 2 and taking the decider map. Here's the thing. I don't think that Bandits banned Railroad 2 because they were concerned about Over on it. I think it's because they are just that good on Harrington. Much like NSA and T3 of the past, Bandits excellent on Harrington. Not surprising when you look at that roster, but they're very much in that same vein as the T3 and NSA lineups in how dominant they can be at Harrington. To me, this was them taking their strength rather than banning the opposing team's strength. So yeah, let's take a look. What screen do I even have up right now? Okay, it's still the Discord, so I will switch it right quick. Actually, no, I'll leave it up for now. Okay, Lennon. Lenny. No, not weekly matches. Season 5 overview, stupid. Where are we going here? Right there. There it is. Okay, Anju and Lennon. What? Is this all silver? Am I stupid? Yes, I am. There we go. Week 8, Lennon. Bandits played Clinic, Over played Chilled. So for Bandits, it was about a 499 point win there. What's the lineup look like for them in this one? Milo, 36. Justin had a great game on the right. I mean, he's just had a great game with every weapon. Insane mutiny clip in this match that he had. 35 kills for CK. We all know how much CK loves to run through this map and throw a 4.5 second prime nade at a spawn. Andrade with 31 on the Garand there. 22 for Arachnid. That's a good sniper after me on this map. 28 for Chris on a bar. Not sure if it'll be Chris. Will it be Taylor? Will it be Element? Will it be Justin on the other heavy? Will Milo be there? I don't know. But it doesn't really matter, to be totally honest with you, with Bandits. Their team is so stacked from top to bottom. They can pick the 6 out of a hat, and I guarantee you they will have guys that can play all the classes and do it at an elite level on any map. As you can see, there's Justin with the 38 bomb with the Stas, and again, a really sick mutiny clip. Yeah, 31 on Andrew, 31 on Milo, 28 for CK, 21 for Arachnid. Really good game sniping Lennon there. Honest to God, like, to me, I'd be very happy with those scores on that map because it's such a disaster for a sniper. And then 19 for Chris. And then on the other side, where'd it go? I was just looking at it. What? Where'd it go? It was literally just right there. Lennon, Thunder, Lennon. Okay, there it is. It was just right underneath. I swear to God. Okay, so Over played against Chilled here. Over also just had Lennon in their last playoff series. I think that might be, actually, because Nick is not in this game and he won't be playing. Obviously, maybe this would be a better one to look at just to get a feel. Thing is, if they have Sokka playing, that also helps a lot, right? Can you get Sokka in there? I would assume that Mata snipes here on Lennon. You could have like SZ, Caffrey again on the heavies, 2 very, very good heavies who are good at this map. Devin on a rifle, either Travis or Kum or Sokka on another rifle, whatever combination of those guys, they're going to have a strong rifle team. They're going to be a handful for the rifles of Bandits. Nades, I think, will be a big X factor, of course, for Bandits. Those guys and their nades, so good at all of it. That will be the great equalizer. If it was just a straight up aim battle between those rifle teams, it's a toss up. When you throw in the nade acumen on the side of Bandits, I think that's where it tilts back in their favor. SZ and Caffrey could absolutely hang with whatever heavy team that Bandits puts out there in this game, but just hanging is not going to be enough on a map like Lennon. Like, eventually Taylor and Milo are going to break through, or Taylor and Chris, or Taylor and Alex, or Alex and Milo, whoever it is, Justin. Their heavies will break through, and they will get to your last flag, and they will lay the smack down. Over's got to be prepared for that. To me, at a certain point, if you're just running into the grinder over and over again, you just got to switch it up, slow it down, prone a little bit, find something else to do to get those guys out of a rhythm, because otherwise it's going to be a long 40 minutes on that map when you've got such good heavies just running back and forth through the blue room, through the apartments, jumping out well, jumping out long, just shitting everywhere. That alone just makes the whole rest of the map feel so small. It's suffocating with how good those heavies are at this map. But they're good at every map, but this is, I would say, their best map. And I say that pretty confidently. If it's not this, I'd probably say Lennon. Or, sorry, Harrington. But for Over, like, again, this is a situation where you gotta find some openings. You gotta pay attention to that death notice, look to see, like, oh, wait, did I just kill CK in apartments? So, like, maybe there's an opening on well, right? Odds are Bandits will plug that gap pretty quickly, but if you can find a timing, even if it's not to cap well, even if it's to unknowingly be pushed up well and grab a spawn wave, 2 or 3 kills, the guys on Over are very good at multi-kills. We just saw it in that series. They are insane. Aim, target switching, everything, recoil control. They're nuts. Finding those openings will be their way back into a game on Lennon. To me, it's like all the players on Bandits are so strong at this map. And they like it. It's not even just like, well, I'm good at Lennon, but like, fuck that map, yo. They're good at it. They like it. CK loves this map. Milo, Taylor, they all love this map. They're all great at it. It's unfortunate Over not likely to have like their top starting 6-2. I don't know who's even going to be able to play for them. I know that's still, or at last I heard, at least it was up in the air. I've been a big fan of overall this season, so it's sad for me to not get to see like them at their absolute peak form going up against the big dogs in gold. I would really like to see that, man. But yeah, for Lennon, I gotta go with Bandits, right? And again, this is a situation where I think if this is a sweep, it's definitely going to be Bandit sweeping. Because when they get going downhill, man, they're like the fucking juggernaut. They are unstoppable. Okay, on to the next map, which was Anzio. That's right, Anzio. Okay, Season 5 overview. Get me to that Anzio. What? Harrington, Railroad, Anzio. There we go. So, as alluded to earlier, Bandits takes out Thunder by basically a cap and a half. Okay. Having a look at these here lineups. You had 25 on Andrew with the Garand, 24 on Alex there with the bar too. I talked about this a couple times, how they have just guys everywhere who can jump into this lineup and play any class and be ridiculous. And this is no different. Element picking up a heavy and going up against us on Anzio and second top fragging with it. CK with 22, Milo 20 and 19, always going to do a good job of putting an emphasis on street. Justin at 18 on allies, which that was kind of like my whole job in that game, was trying to not let Justin off the leash in Plaza, because when he is, like right here, he's going to top frag. So in that game, carring double windows, I was more focused on controlling the pace of Justin and his frag total than I was on going off and trying to find my own kills. I was really trying to keep Justin's hands full as much as I could to keep him from just destroying the rest of my team. Couldn't do it on this SAF though, because I was just getting wrecked everywhere. As you can see, though, Justin 31 and 20, 23 apiece there for Colin and for Milo, 20 for CK, 19 for Alex, and 17 for Andrew. Again, not sure exactly what lineup it'll be, but I can assure you whoever's in there will be insane. Without a doubt. They will all be good at Anzio. Where's this other game? There it is. So, Over. Actually, this is another game versus Grey Hair Mafia, huh? So, Over took out Grey Hair Mafia 518 to 378. They won this one by a little bit more than they actually, I think, won the playoff game. This is a weird one, though. As you can see, Over has Scotty and Kingyo and Chi all playing here. So it's probably even a little bit better to just go to the playoff one. Where are we? Quarterfinals. What? So confused. There it is. Okay. So yeah, this one was a 72-point win. Very close, again, like cap and a half. So Caffrey, always good at this map, right? If they're going to have James playing, that could be a very nice equalizer on the heavy side of things, holding street. Sokka and Devin on bridge, man, they're just a lot to deal with. The nades, again, of the bandit side of things, going to have to be a big equalizer there. Mata, I assume, will be on the sniper in this case, unless they're going to put him on a different class and have James snipe. That's certainly an option. Or you could see Devin snipe. I guess it depends map to map what they could potentially do here based on who they have, because lots of versatility in that lineup. And then on their Axis half, again, Sokka. I'm hoping Over at least has Sokka in there, because he did not play that much this season, but as you saw, MVP of that insane best of 3. He's just such a difference maker. This is Harrington. Was I just looking at Harrington that whole time? I swear I wasn't. There it is. Sokka, 31 kills. Sorry, I was 2 off. 24 on James, 24 on Nick, 23 on Devin, 19 apiece for Mata and Caffrey. On that Axis side especially, certainly on allies, you can favor the bar battles a little bit more, getting into mid. Like, you can find a way to retake it a lot of the time. But Axis side, it's the onus is on you to hold that shit against some really crazy bars. So, Over going to have to make sure that they can do that. Again, they're going to have to deal with the insane nades that will be flying their way. They're going to have to find a way to put the pace to Bandits. Bandits is very, very good at dictating the pace of their game, however they so choose. And they can do it and at all speeds. They can just start putting the pace on you, running through you, taking crazy aim duels and winning them with any gun. Or they can sit back, let you get lulled into a trap, and then you walk away all back from your spawn in 6 seconds altogether. Over's going to have to find a way to be the ones to dictate the pace as much as they can, whether it be not quite playing into the usual strategies of Anzio, right? don't just assume like we're Axis side, so we can't get Plaza right away, right? They're going to try to quick cap it. No, hey, fucking send a couple of guys out aggressive Plaza. Be ready. You know where everyone's going to roughly be, right? There's going to be a guy over at Pizza. There's going to be a couple of guys in Fruit and Grass area. Have a plan to deal with that, you know? Leave one guy in Street just to try to lock it down however they have to, and let that double windows, car, sniper, stops, whatever it may be, just try to put some suppressing fire on the sniper on Pizza, or if it's not a sniper, whoever ends up there. Same with on allies, you know, like Sokka we just saw using that front spawn, going out and acing the bridge team a couple times. You know, look to do that again. Double peek the loft. Animal jump and have a guy peek the loft behind you. Take an aggressive stance. That, I think, is the only way to be able to beat bandits on this map, because they are also very good at Anzio. Over understands how to play Anzio, though. You know, this isn't like, oh, shocking, like if Over were to win this game. I'm inclined to go with bandits, but not because I don't think Over can win. It's just that I don't know who Over's going to have playing. You know, like from what I understood, as of like a couple days ago, they only had like 5 players who were for sure going to be able to show up. They might need to use a ringer, stuff like that. You don't know. I don't even know who the 5 players will be. Like, will it be like Devin and Caffrey and Sokka and James and Mata and Kum? Like, is that the lineup? Can Travis show up? Can SZ show up? I don't know who it's going to be. So it's a total toss-up lineup-wise for me here. If I knew the lineup more certain, just who those 5 guys at least were going to be, I could maybe be more willing to look at the Over winning on Anzio or potentially stealing Lennon and stuff. To me, it's just this whole thing, you know, it's just such an unfortunate situation. I feel awful for Over. You know, and obviously for Grey Hair Mafia too. Like I said in the Dodcast yesterday, I completely empathize with both perspectives, 100%. And anybody who says they don't is lying or just isn't actually putting yourself in the shoes of either side, right? Like, it is totally understandable on both sides. Nobody's at fault here. It just is a shitty situation. You know, so to me, it's like I said, Bandits more than likely to win this, right? And if it's a 2-0, I'm saying it's definitely Bandits. Just, you know, bear with me if it were to go to a third map, which is Harrington. We saw Over play against Grey Hair Mafia on it here, right? They look good, but Grey Hair Mafia managed to pull it out. And then for the Bandits side of things, we actually saw Bandits lose to Grey Hair Mafia in the first week of the season. I forget exactly what the circumstances were in that game. Let me go get that. Where'd I go? Spicy, Over, Goose, R11, Thunder. What? Huh? Where is this thing? Oh, there it is. Okay. It wasn't bold, so I missed it. Grey Hair Mafia won by 30. So the Bandits lineup was Colin, Taylor, Alex, Justin, Chris, and CK. No Milo in this week. No Andrew in this week. No Arachnid, obviously. Justin was sniping here. What a half for Justin on Axis side. 36 and 24 sniping this map on Axis is insane. Alex 29 and 28 there. Colin 39 and 27. Colin is such a good Harrington player, soloing long a lot of the time too, right? Which might be something you got to try to take advantage of, that there's one guy going around by himself, but it's not going to be easy. You might walk right into his grasp there. Because, you know, if you're a guy going solo long, now you suddenly got 2 targets, you're probably a little bit excited about that. You know, for Over, middle. I mean, obviously this is Harrington. Middle is very important. But you might want to even put a little more attention into middle than you otherwise would, because Bandits will be putting attention on middle. They will be throwing their nades perfectly. They will be rotating around. You will never just see an empty middle. Doesn't matter how many guys you kill in mid, Bandits will be rotating around and throwing their nades. If they can't get to mid physically, there will be a nade coming over a wall and blowing you up, you know? So Over's got to be prepared for that. I think Bandits might be unbeatable on Harrington, to be honest with you. Having played against them a few times in scrims and just the players that they have, what their strengths are, you know, how good they are working as a team and individually on their routes. Justin is a fucking handful for snipers in mid and for the rifles going up against him. And then, you know, CK and Andrew as the two rifles that are kind of in that area, and then Collins slotting over from long. He's always going to be there throwing good nades to back up his boys. And then the heavy team on Mountain, whoever it is again. If it's Milo and Taylor in particular, that's just such a fucking OP heavy team. Um, to me, if it goes 3 maps, Bandits is going to win there too. It's just this. I don't see a game where I would be picking Bandits to lose on Harrington. It would have to be very particularly hand-picked, 6, and it would have to be a situation where I then could send them back in time to play together for a while too. And even then, I would never be able to be very confident that Bandits was going to lose on Harrington. To be honest, they're just very much tailor-made, pun only a little bit intended, for this map. To me, you're taking Bandits here, right? That hiccup of a first loss here to Gray Hair Mafia seemed to just light the fire even more, and they just kicked it up a notch into whatever extra gear they've got, the 10th gear, and have been unstoppable since then. And they look as sharp as ever on all these maps. So, again, just unfortunate the way everything went down here. I think if you have over with their best possible starting 6, this would be another one of those series, much like the Gray Hair Mafia series, where it's just fucking back and forth, 2 Rams, button heads. It would have been a very favorable veto for both teams to have a chance to win here. It's just a lot of adversity for Over's lineup to overcome here. It sucks. But, hey, crazy shit happens. You never know. You never know what could go down here. I am not by any means saying there's no way Over has a chance in this game. It's just Bandits is really fucking good, and Over has a lot to overcome just to have a shot to begin with, because, they're going to be missing at bare minimum their all-star sniper Nick, and then apparently just the schedules are not great for them to be able to even have 6 players to begin with on that Sunday. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to try to cast that game. There's a couple afternoon games. I'll probably start off in the gold game, see how it's looking, and, play it by ear from there. Okay, and then, God, please, oh, God, it's so long. Into the final fucking game. I suck, man. I said I was going to make this an hour, and here we are, 2 hours later. So, Thunder versus Chilled. Have I been just leaving? Okay, at least I have the Discord up this entire time. For a second, I was like, have I just had the internet up? Okay, so let's just get through the pick ban here. Right off the bat, Chilled banned Anzio. Probably a good ban, unless you go to school on what the Bandit situation was versus Thunder. Historically been a strong map for Thunder, in particular when Thunder has their starting 6. Thunder bans Armory, because, again, this is Bandit's fist, and this is Thunder's anus on Armory. This is what it looked like. This is, in particular, Justin's fist in my anus. Chilled and Skilled, going Harrington. Again, smart pick, right? We are cursed on Harrington. We can occasionally have, just absolutely miraculous games on Harrington where we look pristine. But more often than not, shit goes south for us on Harrington. We go with Railroad 2, been obviously also a staple of Thunder across 20 years. It hasn't always gone well, but I think if I could go back and go through every single screenshot that we've ever had as Thunder, we probably have the best winning percentage on Railroad 2. Probably Railroad 2, then Anzio, and then Donner, Thunder, and then Lennon. But Lennon in the early days, we lost a couple games throughout the years, so that one's probably not quite as good. I don't know. We'll see. And then we banned Thunder. Thunder is just too much of a variable map. Things can go wrong. One ninja cap can be the difference between dominating the whole game and winning, or dominating most of the game and losing. Just like that. And then Chilled bans Saints, which leaves Lennon. Lennon as a decider. That would be a fun one, right? Lots of fun matchups across the map. I don't like it, because that means I'm going long with a sniper, which means I don't want the sniper in my hands, because what am I going to do? I'm just going to die to everybody else. I'm going to see one guy every 3 minutes, and if they elbow peek me once, that means I'm going to shoot through them, and now I'm dead. It's just the way it goes for me on Lennon. You know, like that's the way it go. Axis side, I spawn, I get up, I get to loft. Here's one guy up in up in apartments. Oh, now he peeks. I shot through him. Now I'm dead. All right, I'm respawning. I'm getting out. I'm getting out. I'm going through the hole. Oh, I just saw a nade come from the long steps. Oh, I see him. I shot. I clipped the wall. He's got 82 health still. I'm dead. I got naded. I spawned. Oh, I got naded. I spawned again. All right, I'm just walking by the goal. Oh, there's a guy blue room. He killed me. Oh, I'm 0-6 now. I'm on the Unter. And guess what? The Unter doesn't work for me at all. I suck with the Unter. There's not enough good access weapons for me to be able to pick from. Allied side, at least there's the Tommy gun, which is so random, right? And the carbine, which is so random, so I can, like, try to get some kills with nades. But if it were up to me, I would never have to snipe Lennon again. So I'm not too happy about that as the third map, but the way the veto went on, it made the most sense, right? And I think just from a spectator standpoint, that would be more fun than potentially playing a Thunder or a Saints. I don't know. Maybe Saints could be crazy. Thunder would be a butthole clencher for sure. Okay, so God, I really want to try to make this as fast as I can, but you know I'm not going to shut the fuck up, am I? Where are we here? Harrington. So, right off the bat, we played each other, right? 306 to 269, an epic collapse by Thunder here. The one saving grace for Thunder's hopes in this, they were missing 2 starters, right? Used 2 guys off the bench here. Chilled and Skilled was a bit of a different team at the time, too, though, right? There's no Bees here. And obviously no Leo, so PDX was actually playing there. We let PDX ring. So that's kind of like a pretty good 1-to-1, I'd say, right? Overall, you can definitely get a lot of information off of this. The big difference is you have Bees in there. Like PDX and Leo, you can say is pretty good, close enough to a wash. But you throw Bees in the mix, and then for us, you got to take John out and Ace out. You put Ryan in for Ace, Brian in for John, and then I move to the sniper. So it's a little bit different. You know, for me, it's just Harrington is such a shit show for us, man. We can be in control of an entire game and just fall apart. That's what happened here. Just an epic comeback for them on Harrington. As you can see, I was also carring Mountain in this game, which I've never done, and I didn't like it going against Chi and William. But PB, 33 kills, and I believe 33 here as well. Justin, so good at every map, but this is a map where I think he has maybe more impact than he does on others. He always finds ways to get his kills in bunches, and that is very important on Harrington because sometimes you just need an optimal time spawn wave. Very, very important on this map when it comes to getting mid. Sometimes you just, oh, well, Justin just killed 4 in 5 seconds, so that means there's only 2 guys that we have to account for long enough for us to cap mid. Very, very important stuff. You know, obviously Ben in mid, I'm going to have my hands full there. Just in general, everybody dealing with Ben in mid. He's an ace on this map, and a lot to put up with, especially with the no fast switching thing. So if you're just caught in your own head and playing off the usual cadence and rhythm that you would, you're going to walk right into him quickscoping you. Now, Chi and Bees is the heavies, so obviously William, I'm assuming he's not going to heavy, but if he did heavy, right, that's also a really nice heavy team. We've seen the kind of damage that Chi and Sick can do. The Ryans will have their hands full there. That is going to be a big-time battle, seeing who can come out on top to keep ladder control for a lot of the time. Very important, because that mid is just going to be a fucking chaotic disaster area, right? Like, it's going to be 3 kills, 4 kills, 3 kills, 4 kills, triple nade, double nade, triple nade, double nade. So if a team has ladder control more often than not, that can be a little bit of a push extra to win mid back into your favor, get you that push up through double doors, upper con, through white steps, etc. So the heavies, major crux in this matchup between the two teams. You know, and then long, right? It's usually a solo person route. Is it PB versus J-Rod? Is it Insane versus J-Rod? Is it Bees versus J-Rod? Is it Leo versus J-Rod? Is it Sick versus J-Rod? I don't know. But generally speaking, right, J-Rod is going to go long for us. Usually there's only one guy going for the other team. Sometimes things get switched up a little bit, right? You never know what teams might decide to do with that route, because it's a little bit of a toss up, right? Sometimes it can be totally unimportant. It's just like a slow crouch walk fest of guys just kind of holding back. But at the same time, if you can play aggressive and take advantage of it, it can also be a nice funnel straight through to a spawn and a flank on mid, and just making life a living hell for the rest of the other team. Um, this one I think will be a good game. It was obviously a 40-point game, less than 37-point game in this situation, with the teams being a little bit different. But I think overall, when you put all the parts into where they're going to be for this game, I think it comes out to being really just as close, right? And then Railroad 2. So we picked Railroad 2. We played over earlier in the season. It was a little bit of a different over than they've been putting out there now. But for us, we had Tox had a good game there with 31 with the car. J-Rod 28, Jules 28, I was 29, 23 apiece for Brian and Ryan. And then on the Allied side, 35 for Ryan, 27 Jules, 27 Dorito, 28 for me, 30 for J-Rod, 28 for Tox. And then for Chilled, where'd they go? Where'd they go? Where'd they go? There it is. They played against Bandits. This was a pretty fun game to cast too. 218 to 115. Again, though, a different team here. Oh, this was the game where Raven had that absolutely insane clip. Sick had a couple insane clips. Again, very different potential looking lineup here for Chilled Skilled. Like, I don't take too much stock out of them losing to Bandits in this game, because this is not what their lineup's going to really look like. Chi was a menace on Allied side. Chi and Sick both were just all over the place with apartments control, making things painful for Bandits in that area of the map. Ben, obviously, especially on Allied side, is a lot. He's a handful for anyone to deal with. The train battle, of course, going to be interesting to see how that plays out too between the two halves. It'll probably be two different guys on each team across the two halves. Like, there's not just a straight up rail car player hypothetically here for either team. I don't look forward to having to deal with Ben on this map either, and certainly not on Lennon, where I just don't like to snipe that map in general. But these two maps where it's a little bit more sniper favorable, Ben more than likely to come out on top in a lot of those exchanges. That's not the right match, but looking at Ben there, if Insane plays 27, Ben is really good at going long on this map, especially on Axis. Ben Savin to be exact, but he's been saving up a lot of kills for this game, and he had 27 on Axis there, 28 for Sick, 25 for Justin, 19 for Chi. Allied side, Ben had 33, Ben Savin, 31 for Chi, 29 for William, 26 for Justin, 15 for Insane. In this game, it's going to be apartments again, right? Apartments, and then me and Ben, like whichever sniper can have the most success in keeping bodies off of mid. And of course, rotations. Things can get out of hand on this map. You can lose track of guys. If you don't get support on your train car players, you can give up a ninja cap or just a straight full cap very easily that way. You get a guy all of a sudden out behind you in four-way and shit's going down. Get a guy ninja'd into underpass. You need communication. You need to be on the same page everywhere. Children Skilled will do that. We certainly saw it playing against them on Anju in that 1-point game or whatever it was. They are good at floating around the map when necessary with their teammates, which is always a very important thing on Railroad 2. So again, to me, this series also, very, very good chance of going 3 maps and being unbearably close to the point where I might never play DoD again after, because it's so stressful. And then lastly, Lennon. Lennon. So Chilled beat over here. We had PB with 39, Justin, man, just a ridiculous car on this map. Also a ridiculous Garam, but in particular, his Axis halves are always exceptional. Mitch had 27, Leo had 27, Ben 7 was 25 and 14, which is a hell of a sniper half on Lennon. And then 25 for Chi, 25 for Ben Réappel. And then on to the other half. There was no William for this game, obviously. So you slot him in there for Insane, potentially, right? 41 for Mitch, 33 for Chi, 31 for Justin, 22 for Leo, 16 for Ben, 18 for Hildy. Heavies, 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 right? It's Lenin, heavies up against each other. If it gets to a third map, that's going to be the big name of the game is the heavies. When you got the rifle tandems going on there, right? Let's just take a look at what the performances were out of our rifles on Lenin. Tox 35 on a car, Brian 28 on a car, Garan's half 35 for Tox, 28. They had the same exact kill total there, right? And those guys going up against Leo Justin rifle team or Leo William or Justin William or any of those guys in B's or Insane or whatever, like that is going to be very back and forth, right? It's just going to be 50-50 on who wins that exchange any given moment. But the big turn could come from having support from your apartments team, being that extra body that makes it harder for those insane players to get that kill that they need to get to open up that side of the map. The apartment side of things, making those players uncomfortable. Anybody can be great when they're just like standing there and dealing with multiple targets. You can strafe peek behind the wall. When you got 4 targets and 2 are shooting at you and 2 are throwing a nade, and now you're starting to feel the heat, and now someone's flanking you. That's where you see nobody can come out of that on top, right? Unless the game decides to let you come out on top because like I'm dancing back and forth and you're shooting me but you can't fucking hit me, which can happen for all of us. Sometimes the game is just on our side or against us. But yeah, heavies, 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 right? And then long, I think, will also be a pretty big thing here, right? Because I've been talking so much shit about long, but when it comes down to it, long can be a very valuable tool, especially on your Axis side, right? Like, you're dealing with pushing up on your last flag so much. If you can get over to long, through apartments, through the long itself, and grab a double cap, get some breathing room, that seems to be the most common strategy teams employ now when they get backed up to their last flag on Axis side of Lenin. And on Allied side too, right? That's still a free pass over to the Axis last flag very, very quickly. You have a bar jump out long and catch a timing where, like the long teams wiped each other out, right? Like one guy killed one guy, then a dead nade killed these guys. All of a sudden you're thinking like, hey, long is open. But hey, a bar just jumped out long and pushed up to your fucking L hall. You guys think you don't have anything to worry about because everyone killed each other, and now that bar just took out 6 of you at your first flag. You got capped on. You lost. The season's over. This is just, I think on Lenin, a lot of times what it just comes down to is who's hitting their shots. Who's nailing the nades, who's doing the fundamental, mechanical, technical aspects of the game well for that 40-minute span. There's not a lot of crazy stratting you can do rotation-wise. Everything is pretty well connected, so things can't get too out of hand in that regard. Sometimes on this map in particular, it can just come down to a butting of heads, who's hitting the shots, who's not, who's hitting the nades, who's not. And sometimes just who's getting a little bit lucky, right? A nade can blow up in your face, do 99 damage, and then you survive long enough to break that cap. Things like that. I think this map in particular, if it gets to a third map, I think it's going to be very stressful, very, very scary, and it could come down to just any one player on either team having an exceptional game, just relative to their average performance on it. I think this will be a very, very fun series. Whoever is there for either team, both teams have a good grasp on how to play DoD and be successful at it. A lot of experience, a lot of skill. Hopefully someone can cast it, because I think it'll be a real fucking crazy back and forth affair across the board here. Harrington, Railroad to Lenin. Can't ask for much better when it comes to pace of play for a best of 3. Overall, that's pretty much as fast-paced 3 maps as you could get, and with the players on display here, Toxinator, Jules, Ryan Emo, Dorito, J-Rod, Bees, Sick, PB, Hildebrand, Chi, Leo, or Insane, or Raven, or whoever, right? Like, that's a lot of potential movie clips for a caster to go nuts about. So, good luck, have fun, to chill. We'll see you guys on the battlefield tomorrow night. And yeah, that does it. I managed to keep it under 2 hours. That's a fucking victory if there's ever been one. I will upload this soon. I'm going to go eat dinner now because I thought this was only going to take an hour. So, I will see you cats tomorrow. Can't you tell that I'm wearing these sweet glasses here very, very well? Ow. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. 3 o'clock are the first games. Get ready because it's the playoffs in KTP Season 5. And I think it's going to be a big one here. I think we're going to have a lot of fun matches. Casting will be up because we got Blender now too. So we got multiple casters. So just be on the lookout for when things go live. Don't pay attention to what the game says, because odds are I'm just putting a different game in the description to fuck with people when I then raid their stream, so they're not like, Day of Defeat, what's that? Instead, we're playing like, Team Fortress Classic, or we're playing like Tetris, Ocarina of Time. No, I'm just kidding. I did do that last week, though. All right. You guys have a good night. Go watch UFC 300. It's going to be crazy. Peace out. KTP. Love you guys. See you tomorrow.